Hey guys, it is about just before 2 on Thursday. I feel like this is a very odd time to start a vlog. It has been a crazy week so far. I have been really up against it with the deadlines for this new packaging project. I did it. I submitted it just now, but it was so stressful. I've been working pretty much every evening. I've had extra childcare this week because I just needed more time to work. I am feeling very stressed right now. I've shared this before and I actually just tweeted about it. But I really struggle with my inner critic when I am overbooked and when I'm up against it with deadlines. I think I used to struggle with my inner critic just when I was making personal work years ago. Probably like, I don't know, over 6 or 7 years ago. It's been a long time since I would struggle with it when I was making personal work. Right now, if I'm making personal work, I am just able to really easily get into that flow state where I'm not evaluating while I'm making it. And that's just so rewarding. And that's like my favorite thing to do. It's like stress relieving. It makes me feel better. I enjoy the process. Like, super positive. But the inverse of that is that when I am up against a really hard deadline or when I'm overbooked and I have too many things I've committed to and I'm stressed about that, that stress makes it like impossible for me to get into the flow state. And that means that the whole time I'm making whatever I'm making, I'm just constantly picking it apart and thinking like, well, this isn't good, that isn't good, this isn't done, this isn't what I want it to be. And then that makes me more stressed, which makes it worse. So it just ends up being this awful cycle. So that has been going on. And I just it super bums me out when I feel that way because I love what I'm doing. I love what I do for a living and I'm so grateful to do it. And it makes me feel sad that like on the weeks when I'm intensely drawing, I am spending so much of that time, or this time, I shouldn't generalize because it doesn't always happen this way. But when the last time I felt this way was right after we had moved here, when I was working on a different packaging project, and I swore to myself that I would never overcommit again, and that I would never agree to do an unrealistic amount of work in a too short of a period of time. But yep, here I did it again, and it made me feel the same way. So yeah, it just feels like it really robs the joy out of a situation that should be really positive. So I've just sent in the color versions of the sketch of the illustrations, and at this exact moment, like what my inner voice is telling me is that they're going to hate them and that they're going to write back and say that that there's like too many things even to change and they're going to have to go in a different direction. And I know logically, I know they're not going to do that. They may come back and have a lot of changes, but still, like that's what my brain is telling me right now. So I'm sharing that again with you guys because if there's anybody new watching this video, or if you hadn't seen a video the last time I talked about it, I just think it's really important to be open about the fact that that everybody struggles with this, and it doesn't get any different. Well, I mean, I guess it does get somewhat different because for me, it's not as much of a struggle if I'm just creating something that's open-ended, or if I'm working against a very comfortable deadline. I have gotten a lot better at turning off my inner critic in those moments. But when I'm stressed and I can't turn it off, it is just awful. So yeah, that's where I'm at this moment. Just sent that stuff in, just had my coffee, and I have another deadline tomorrow. This is for the Milk Street illustrations, the ones that I do kind of on a recurring basis. So I'm going to work on that this afternoon, and I also have to upload my YouTube video. So this is going to be I guess it's sort of a vlog because it's a vlog format, but it's very short. You're just going to hang out with me this afternoon while I paint. Maybe we'll chat a little bit. I just need to not sit here watching my inbox waiting for client feedback. So that is it. I am gonna get my desk set up and start painting. All right, so here we go. I thought I would just answer a few of your recent questions that have been posted on videos from the last few weeks. I'll just paint and go through those. So the first one, someone named Derek Morehouse asked where I had gotten my magnifying desk lamp. That was shown in a video, I think last week's video. And I'm using it right now actually, but I'm not using the magnifying function. I'm just using the daylight function. And it was a gift from my sister, so I didn't actually buy it. I think she probably either got it from Blick or from Amazon. But if you just search magnifying desk lamp, there's nothing particularly special about this one. I do use the magnifying function, although not a ton. But the natural daylight function is really nice. Yeah, I would definitely recommend something like that, but the one that I have isn't a particularly special one. Kim Reed said, "Hi Kendall, you mentioned your personality. I was wondering about your MBTI type. You seem similar to me, INFP. Well, you're pretty close, Kim. I'm an INFJ, but it's a soft J, I would say. I'm just on the edge between a J and a P. I've talked about this before, but if you have been around here, you know I am kind of obsessed with the Enneagram, and I'm a type 4 on the Enneagram. I really like personality tests in general. I think they're pretty fun. And yeah, I do think it's helpful to have a sense of whether it's a personality test or not, whether it's just you knowing yourself really well. I think it's very helpful to have a sense of your own personality and your character traits, especially if you are considering freelance work, since I do think it is probably more naturally suited for certain personality types than others, though there's a wide variety and not every freelancer has the same personality type by any means at all. But yeah, it has been helpful for me knowing that I'm a type that tends to be on the introverted end of the spectrum. Linda B asked what products I use in my hair. I can't honestly remember the name of what I'm using right now. I had tried that Lus Brands, Lus, and that has just been like everywhere on social media recently. So I had given it a try, and I feel like everybody who has tried it has like raves about it, or at least everybody who posts about it on social raves about it for curly hair. But for me, it honestly just didn't really work all that well. I tried lots of different ways of using it. And their customer service is awesome. Like they'll try talking you through different things, and I tried everything that they suggested, but it just didn't work very well for me. But I can't remember the brand of the thing that I'm using right now. It's just something I found on Amazon. I do tend to try to use things that are sulfate and silicone free, since that's better for all hair in general, but especially for curly hair. And right now, the specific product I'm using is a mousse. So I tend to like some kind of combination of a mousse and a gel. That's pretty much it. I will try to check and see what the actual name of it is and see if I can put it in the comments. Nope, in the description box. Amy G asked what paper I used on, this was on the video that showed the process for the Skillshare painting that I did, the girl holding the paper lantern. That was on paper, not on board. It was on Fabriano Artistico hot pressed, but it was like a super, super heavyweight paper. So it honestly almost had the texture or had the weight of a board, like a heavyweight Bristol board. I think it's actually 300 pounds. So usually you would see like a very common heavyweight paper is 140 pounds or 300 GSM. And this one is actually like a full 300 pounds. The GSM is like 640 or something. So it is super, super heavyweight. And I really, really like it. It's the only challenge is if you're trying to like project light through it or something to get your sketch transferred, it can be challenging. You really can't use a window. You have to use a light table or a light pad. But other than that, it's great. It's a really nice paper, and I've been using it quite a lot. Monkey Mintaka asks if I have heard of Lisa Congdon. Yes, I have heard of her. She is somebody who I've followed pretty much since I started on the internet with art back in like 2011, 2012. And I find her very inspiring as well. She's an excellent communicator. And if you haven't heard of her, she's somebody who got started. She's more of a self-taught artist and somebody who got started in her art career kind of later in life. Although not that late, just like in her late 30s, but it was later than a lot of people get started. And she didn't really start, professionally doing it and finding a lot of success in it until she was in her 40s. And she's, I believe, in her 50s now, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you Lisa Congdon fans are out there. And she's just really just continuing to kill it. And she's just awesome in doing all sorts of really cool things in the industry, and not only making beautiful work, but inspiring other people. And yeah, she's just a really cool creative person, all around creative, not just a good illustrator. But definitely recommend you check out her work if you haven't heard of her before. And Amanda, this is more of a comment than a question, but I wanted to mention it because you are the only person to say it so far on YouTube. Amanda commented on my balayage and said that it looked good. So thank you, Amanda. Thank you for noticing. I got balayage done like, I don't know, 6 or so weeks ago now. And I was totally expecting a bunch of you guys to notice. And I was kind of even a little bit self-conscious about it because I'm somebody who has like never dyed my hair. It's just not really been a thing that I do. So I did get balayage and I immediately had hair regret afterwards. I think just because of being somebody who has never made any changes to it really color-wise, that felt so drastic to me. But I've been getting used to it, and I think I may do it again. Hey, it's Lise asks what part of Pennsylvania we moved to. This was posted on a vlog where I mentioned us having moved to Pennsylvania. We are in York County, so kind of close to the Maryland border, about 3 hours away from New York, about 2 hours away from Philadelphia, and about an hour away from Baltimore. So yeah, kind of close-ish to a bunch of big cities, but not super close, and definitely more in a kind of remote, not remote, more, well, not remote and not rural, but certainly less urban than we were in Boston. Vinro Nature and Art asked if I could mention a brand of some colored pencils that I had used. I think this was in reference to, again, to the lantern piece, although it might have been to the geode piece that I was working on. This is a couple of videos ago. If it was the geode piece, that was watercolor pencils, and those were, oh golly, I have to look up the brand. Yes, the watercolor pencils are Faber-Castell, the Albrecht Dürer watercolor pencils. And then if you were talking about the lantern piece, that one was a combination, mostly Prismacolor, but a few also Faber-Castell? No, a few Caran d'Ache Luminance, which are their softcore color pencils. It's like their version of Prismacolor softcore. Yeah, so those are what I was using. All right, I think that's about it for the questions for now, but I thought I would go ahead and just give you guys a few more updates about other things that are going on. I can't remember the last thing I said about the house. I know it was in a vlog. I think it was in last week's vlog. But there is some news on that front. I know I had told you guys that a bunch of stuff came up in the inspection, but I wasn't sure what we were going to do. And it ended up being, yeah, pretty significant. The stuff that turned up, we did some more looking into it and kind of worked with the sellers to try to figure out if it was going to be feasible or not. But we decided that at the end of the day that it was just too much for us to take on, with both of us working and having 2 young children, and also having really like not just no experience with like renovations or dealing with house problems, but like really no experience with home ownership at all. This is going to be our first home. So we felt like it made us a bit uncomfortable to be taking on something that seemed like it was really going to potentially have a lot of issues down the road. So we ended up having to walk away from the house. And yeah, I was pretty bummed about that initially, more so, this may sound silly, but I really liked the sellers. We had met the sellers. It was just a little bit unconventional. They had been there on one of the days that we came and first saw the house. And yeah, we met the husband, and he just seemed really nice. And they were yeah, moving on. They had lived there for a long time, and I just liked them. They were seemed like a nice couple, and yeah, so I felt more like bad about that, I guess, than sad about losing the house itself. So I guess that's maybe a sign that it's a good thing that we didn't move forward with it, because it doesn't really make sense to buy a house because you like the sellers. But yeah, I was definitely struggling with that. And at this point, we have now put in an offer on another house, and it was accepted. And yeah, we're waiting to do the inspection. So you guys will be seeing this video on November 15th, I think. And that is the day of our inspection. So as you are seeing this, well, actually, so this will get published at like 11, and then the inspection's at 1. So later in the afternoon, on the day that you guys are seeing this, we will be having our inspection. So send us good vibes if that is your thing. I am still going to move forward with my plan to get a studio. It just makes sense because even with this new house that we're looking at, the room that I would use for a studio would be on the main floor. So it would be really logistically challenging to try to work on the same floor that the kids are hanging out on, especially especially as Penny is getting older and is more aware and knows that I'm in there, and it's harder for her. I think it will just be, better for us as a family to have that separation. But I am nervous about it since it's a first and I've never done it before. So that is still definitely happening. I probably will try to move in like around the first of the year. I just don't want to do anything right now. It feels too crazy because the holidays are coming up and we're trying to figure everything out with, the house and what we're going to do with the house and buying the house and all of that. So I just want to be able to focus on that. And then once that is squared away, once we've bought the house, once that's all done, and we're going to start work, we are still going to end up having to do a few renovations. Even on this place, it's in better shape than the other one was, but it still is going to need some work. So we'll be doing renovations hopefully in like January, and hopefully those will be done by February. And then we can move into the house again, hopefully, at some point in February. And I think I would like to have moved into the studio before that because I don't want to be doing 2 moves at once. So that is kind of the plan at this time, the update. So what's going on? Hey guys, I feel like my face is like really red because I am flushed. I've been rushing, trying to wrap things up, finish things up. Oh, and now I'm getting a low battery signal. So that is just really on theme for this week. So yes, I forgot to end the vlog yesterday. I should just put like a trigger warning for this vlog that if you're already stressed and feeling pinched for time, don't watch this vlog, because that's basically all it is. It's just me feeling really stressed about meeting a deadline. But I did meet the deadline, met both my deadlines, got the packaging illustration in last night, and then got my editorial in just now. And I love it when this happens. My art director, who is like one of my favorite people to work with in the world, that battery was not joking around. Anyway, yes, our director just emailed and said that we got approval on the illustration, or that she knew that they weren't going to have any edits. She loved how it turned out. So I almost never get instant feedback, so it's really nice when that does happen. So that's done. And then I did get some feedback for changes about the packaging illustration. Whenever I'm doing a packaging job, there almost always are a lot of people involved, and so there are always more edits on packaging things. And also because they are just going to be putting it, they tend to care more than editorial clients do, I think, because they're going to be putting it on stuff that they're going to sell. There's more cooks in the kitchen, the stakes are higher. So I got some edits, that's what I'm trying to say. But they're pretty much all things that are reasonable enough. Some of them are a little annoying, just because they're things that could have been fixed earlier, but that's just something that happens when there are a lot of people involved. The communication isn't always quite as clear. So I'm just going to roll with it. I'll be doing those next week and then finishing up one other aspect of this job next week. And then the week after that, I actually don't have any client work scheduled. And then that's like the week before Thanksgiving. So I'm going to do, hopefully I'm going to like keep that week blocked out. And I'm going to try to do like a big portfolio update some different things online, send out what I aim to do is to send out a quarterly email to our directors that I've worked with, but I haven't done it in like, did I do one in the spring? Or the winter before we left? I don't know. I don't actually know if I have done one yet this year. It might be like over a year since I've done one, but I'm gonna try to do that the week before Thanksgiving as well. And then by then we'll be getting to December, and unless some like super cool, amazing project comes along that I just can't say no to, I'm really thinking about making December some kind of a sabbatical where I just paint. Yeah, we'll talk more about that later. All right, you guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for all of the nice comments on the last video and the video before that. I feel like I say it a lot, but I want to say it even more. I just appreciate you guys so much, and I appreciate the kindness and yeah, just the really good energy and the nice things you guys say. And yeah, it really lifts me up and makes me want to keep going, want to keep making stuff for you guys. So yeah, that's it. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Oh, whoops. Thank you to Meg, of course, for editing. And thank you especially to my patrons for sponsoring this video and every video. You guys make it possible. Yeah, that's it. Have a good weekend, and I will see you guys. I don't know if it's going to be a vlog or what I'm going to do next week, but there will be something. So I will see you then. All right, bye guys.